Kayvon. Way to send shockwaves throughout Twitter right now. If you didn't see it, man, Kayvon Thibodeau was on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. It looks like it's a podcast with Carmelo Anthony and his colleague. I'm not too sure what his name is. Haven't really watched that podcast before, but it was dope to see Kayvon Thibodeau on there. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It's actually pretty insightful, and it's dope to see Kayvon on there because, as you know, KT, he got a good personality to him, man, and he's a lot, there's a lot more behind him than just his play on the field, so definitely check that out. But, man, that's not what we're here to talk about. Roll the clip.
Okay. I was mad at that, but I was like,
let me tell you what I'm mad at, and this is the only thing I'll say about that. Saquon should have got paid first. That's what I feel. And maybe, who I don't know the back end. Maybe it's a franchise. Maybe it's an extension. Maybe it's blah, blah, blah. That's none of my business. I don't,
That's just and that's the respect we was talking about.
Exactly. With the team chemistry and all that, because we see it.
I'm not completely killing Kayvon for what he said, and I'm not going to stick him out on a pole and stick him out to the fence and just say, hey, you stay out there. Don't even think about coming back. None of those type of things. But KT, man, I just feel like this did not have to be said publicly. I just don't think it should have. Now, for us fans and for us that like to talk about the Giants all the time and, think about what happened last year, clearly this is an issue that the locker room saw. Now, we could speculate and we could say, hey, the locker room was not backing the decision on Daniel Jones getting a contract and Saquon Barkley not. We can all speculate those things. But now to come into the public's eye view and say it yourself, that's a whole different story. And trust me, hearing it from him does not make me believe that he's the only one thinking this. So now it just shows for the GM, for Brian Daboll, for Joe Schoen, looking at it, did you make the wrong decision? This decision might cost you your job. It just might. Because once again, let's give a recap. 2 years ago, not this past year, the year prior, the Giants went to the playoffs, won a playoff game with an undermanned roster. Daniel Jones, he could have got extended by picking up his option. They said, no, we're not going to pick it up because why would we pick it up with what we've seen so far? Declined it. They go out. They win a playoff game. Daniel Jones ends up getting his contract. He got a contract, getting paid $40 million. You see it being talked about. Majority, we all know this. Saquon Barkley also had a crazy year. Doesn't get a contract. They're battling left and right. Ends up getting franchise tagged, and that's what it was. Now, my whole thing with what Kayvon said, yes, I can understand what you're saying. Saquon, when you think about Saquon, he's the New York Giants. When you think about that run that we went on without Saquon Barkley, would we have gone on that run? No, we wouldn't have. Saquon Barkley was a really great player for us that year. He's been a great player for us year in and year out. Some can argue that he should be better than what he's playing, but that's some can argue. Let's not skip over the fact that Joe Schoen tried to offer this man a contract during the bye week. Let's not skip over that. Now, was it the number that he wanted? Clearly it wasn't, because he would have taken it. He was offering around $13 million in the bye week. He said, no, I feel like I can get more. I definitely want more. They said, all right, we'll wait in the offseason. Offseason comes around. He wasn't getting more than 13 M's. And at that point, he was hoping to even get close to that ballpark, try to get that same contract again. And Joe Schoen was saying, no, that's the art of negotiations. We're not going to sit here and talk about negotiations, but that's the art of it. And that could be possibly the reason why he didn't get paid and Daniel Jones did. Being a running back and being a quarterback in terms of getting paid, we know how that goes. And we know the leverage that a team has, the leverage that a player has. A quarterback is always going to have a lot more leverage than a running back does. For the future of this league, you're always going to see that. But let's not sit here and argue. And let's not sit here and talk about the fact that, Saquon should have got paid before Daniel Jones did. At this point, some are arguing maybe Daniel Jones shouldn't have got paid at all. And probably 80% of the fan base is going to say, yeah, we shouldn't have paid him to begin with. But to say that Saquon should have got it before he did, they tried to. It's not like they didn't try to. That's the part that gets overlooked. They offered him a contract in the season, in the bye week, and he declined. What can you say? Now, it puts us in an intriguing standpoint, right? Because now you think about it, and once again, he's airing out dirty laundry that's in the locker room all itself. Like, you can have this viewpoint, you can have this opinion, but maybe you don't need to talk about it publicly. Maybe you don't need to speak on it, because once again, that kind of feels like you're throwing the decision of the guy that drafted you, you're kind of throwing him under the bus. Now, he did say, I'm not going to overlook it as well, he did say he believes in Daniel Jones. He also said he believes in what the front office is going to do, drafting, signing guys. He believes in all of that. He did mention that. But it's kind of impossible to not feel slighted when you're saying the decision you made was the wrong decision. And granted, we can say that. Now I don't know. Like, am I tripping? Y'all let me know down below in the comments, man. Am I tripping for the way I'm looking at this? And now, obviously, we know it is what it is. We just went over this past season. Daniel Jones tears his ACL. Looked bad in all but one game. Saquon Barkley, he failed to rush for 1,000 yards, but behind a historically bad O-line, what can you expect? But now we sit at this point in the offseason. Most likely, Saquon Barkley is not going to get franchise tag. He probably is on his way out. You, Joe Schoen, here you are in the offseason. Not too sure what he's preparing to do. I'm assuming he's going to try to bring Saquon Barkley back. If I'm Joe Schoen, I'm definitely going to try to bring him back. Long term, probably not. For the future success of the team, you probably don't give him a long-term contract. If you couldn't get it done last year, you're definitely not going to get one done this year. It's hard to see it. But now at this point, you got guys like a Kayvon Thibodeau, a young rising star on this team saying Saquon should have got paid last year before Daniel Jones did. Now here we are. Saquon Barkley might not even be on the team. What is that going to send to the locker room if you don't even bring him back? What is that going to send to the locker room? Which, who knows, right? The Giants team, I do believe that they were more talented than the previous year. They were more talented last year than the previous year when they went to the playoffs. Clearly something was wrong. The chemistry in the locker room might have not all been there. Maybe the locker room wasn't up to par or cohesive as they were the year prior, and that could have been a reason why. If that was the main reason why, I don't think we go from 5 wins to 12 wins because of that. I don't believe so. Kayvon was saying that he thinks they could have won the Super Bowl and won it, as all players should. But now going into this season, once again, if you don't bring back Saquon Barkley, what message are you sending to the locker room? Clearly, a message was sent when you paid Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley got franchise tagged, and it wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good one that the locker room received. At the end of the day, the locker room is the locker room and business is business. They all know this. We should all know this as a fandom, but we should also know this, that the NFL is a business, the Giants are a business, and they're going to do whatever's best for their business, however they want to operate. If Saquon Barkley's not back, what is the locker room going to react like? It could be worse. It could be worse. And we're not even talking about on the field yet. We're not talking about an offense without Saquon Barkley next year, which who knows if we'll get a quarterback. Who knows if we'll get a wide receiver. We're not talking about what that offense could look like without Saquon Barkley. We're just talking about the locker room itself. Could get ugly. And I said this all last offseason. I was saying it could get ugly. They ended up getting a franchise tag done and, working it into a 1-year contract, all these different things. All I know is that clearly Kayvon Thibodeau just aired it out and said, hey, this is what got me mad. He said verbatim, what I'm mad at is Saquon should have got paid before Daniel Jones. Flat out said it. Now, next year, Daniel Jones is going to be here. Will he be starting every single game? I don't know. He's going to be in the locker room. He's going to be around the guys in training camp. He's going to be on the team next year. Will Saquon Barkley be there? Will he be under contract? Or is he going to get franchise tagged again? Franchise tag could completely just boil over and break everything. So it's either getting a contract done or he's going to be gone. And that's going to be a whole nother topic in itself. But I want y'all to let me know, man, what do y'all think down below, man, in the comments. Is Saquon Barkley going to be back? But also, what's your opinion on Kayvon Thibodeau saying this? What's your opinion on it? I just think Kayvon Thibodeau should have definitely not said it publicly. Because realistically, this is the cool part about having an athlete on our team like Kayvon Thibodeau. Good thing and a bad thing. He's just like us. He has his own opinions just like we do. We're the guys that are looking at it from the outside. He's inside the locker room and he's letting you know that had him a little flustered. Let alone what the rest of the locker room thinks. Let alone what everybody else thinks. All I know is I don't think it's the best business for him, the best business for the Giants. If you haven't seen my other videos, make sure you check them out down below, man. Subscribe. I also wrote to 10K, so active, man. We're almost at 2,000, man. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe down below. I will catch you on the next one. Kayvon, keep it tight, bro.